right, we are live. We're just gonna wait for to get a couple of people here in the room so we can start talking. Let everybody know who you are. So I'm just sharing in a couple of groups. Posting as Ernest. Share public. Share everywhere. So we're just gonna say happy Saturday. Happy Saturday to everybody from the Profit Room. My name is Ernest. I'm one of the team members here at theprofitroom.com. We have these series called Student Success. Latoya is here as well. And we have one of our students that we just want to showcase this week. So his name is George. We're going to let George talk in a second, but just wanted to share this in some groups. If you see this message or see this video, please share with as many people as possible, or in any other groups that you normally see that I actually post in. That would be great as well. So once again, we want to say happy Sunday, happy Saturday as well. And what we do here at the Profit Room, for those who may or may not know about us, we're a stock market trading and education company. Our whole goal is to teach people how to be independent, professional traders. So what I mean by that, independent professional traders, is that you're able to, at your own, be able to look at the market, whatever financial market it is, stocks, options, futures, Forex, and be able to come to the conclusion of placing a trade on your own, whether it's short term for income or whether it's long term for investments. And that's what we strive to do. A lot of people talk about fishing. You fish on your own, you go do your own thing. That's our whole goal, is to teach you how to do that and not have to rely on anybody else. So when you're able to do this on your own, you don't have to rely on anybody else. And at the same time, even if you don't want to do it on your own, you still have the knowledge in order to be able to do it on your own. So that's the main thing that we want people to have. So it's just education, as we say, application, and also, last but not least, that's how you get the success. All right. So George, he's a student of ours. Excellent student. Very, very, very knowledgeable man. He knows a lot of stuff that's going on in the market. Tell us about yourself, George. Give us a little bit about your background, who you are, what you do, your experience, things of that nature, just in general.
Well, first of all, thank you for allowing me an opportunity to share my story with the Profit Room. I'm George. I reside in North Carolina, so technology works everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to reach out to the Profit Room through a newspaper article, really, that I had read here locally. And I had never seen anyone trading or teaching people how to trade who looked like me. And so that really, really interested me to start that journey. A little bit about my background. I served a long, storied career in the military for 30 years. And in that time, I learned how to invest. And I did a lot of investing, but my main MO was to buy, hold, and pray. And that works. that works because you have time.
Yes, time.
If you start early and you're faithful and you're consistent, it works because the market goes up and the market goes down. And your greatest fear is that it doesn't go down when you're about to get out. So,
yes.
Mm-hmm.
But in my career, I've traded everything from Berkshire Hathaway to Facebook to I did some mutual funds. I was all over the place, and it was good. I mean, it allowed me to, after I retired from the military, to open up a business. I was a custom art framer. I couldn't paint or draw, but I could frame. And so I did that for about 10 years. And in that process, I continued to invest. But I had this itch to learn how to trade, but I reached out to some books, Options for Dummies, and Candlesticks for Dummies, everything,
Mhm.
everything for dummies, okay? But it didn't work because I don't know if I just wasn't motivated. I had the persistence, but I just didn't have the training. So I
Mhm.
went online to YouTube and I hit a few folks up, and boy, it was expensive.
Mm.
But in the process, I picked up a few little tidbits, but I wasn't satisfied. And then one day I read this article, and here's a picture of Ernest, and I go, who is this guy? The Profit Room. So I reached out on the website, and I enrolled in the class. And I must say that the first thing that I saw that really enlightened me and helped me and pleased me was the cost. It was a cost, but it wasn't overwhelming, and that's what drives most people away. They see that gigantic cost and they go, "Well, I don't want to pay that much money." Well, you're not going to get it on the cheap, and I have to pay for it. And I
Mhm.
find that if you want to get a good education, it costs. So in February, I sort of made it a New Year's resolution to do something different this year, to learn something. And I said, okay, I'm going to learn how to trade. So I reached out to the Profit Room, and my first class was swing trading. And in swing trading, I got a lot of fundamentals. I learned how to read charts. I learned about candlesticking, and watching Ernest and Latoya do their thing. I go, boy, they make it look so easy. But I found that it took. I just couldn't just look at it once and put it away. I had to put a lot of time in. And I heard Ernest say one time, he was looking at 200 charts a day, and I go, oh my
Mhm.
goodness, what have I got
Yeah.
myself into? Because I'm still, although I'm retired, I still got a life. But I found that the more I invested, the easier it got. The more time I invested, I began to pick up a few more things and learn how to read chart patterns and see
So
some
let me ask you,
correlations.
I don't mean to butt in.
That's
This
okay.
is your first time starting to learn how to read a chart.
Yes, it is. Yes, it
Now,
is.
you mind letting the audience know your age and things that they.
Well, I'm the AARP poster boy for Profit Room. I'm 71 years old, and
And you started learning how to read charts at 70.
I started learning how to read charts at 71. So you
Hmm.
can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Exactly.
It was a little challenging. I had to get a big monitor. My monitor is 43 inches, so I couldn't see
Don't
the
worry, you see the spaceship behind Latoya, so it's all right.
I couldn't, I couldn't see the candlesticks of my little Mac Pro book screen. So I
The
got me,
MacBook Pro.
yeah. I got me a big
That's
monitor
it.
there, and I tell you, it made all the difference in the world. I go, whoa! Now I can see this uptrend and this
Everything.
downtrend. And I could see some chart patterns from Latoya. I know she got on me once because I was missing flags and pennants. I couldn't see them. I don't want to tell her, but it was hard. But now I can see. But that made all the difference. Yeah, age. Now let me say something to those out there who may be getting up in age. You have to put more time in. At least I did. And I'm a student. I've been in school pretty much all my life. I have almost a doctorate degree, so education is not something that's rare to me. But I find that my retention, I got to put more time in order to retain because there's a lot of information. It's like learning a new language, and with anything, it takes time. It takes persistence and patience. So thankfully, I had those things. I was disciplined enough to stick with it, and that's the main thing. So now, after I did swing trading, I jumped over into options. And options are really exciting. I found that I could didn't have to have a whole lot of money invested, but I could still trade some of those bigger stocks that were kind of expensive. But I was able to now use an options method with those strategies that I learned to trade options. I could go up and I could go down, and that was another frustrating thing for me. I could only make money when the market went up. You know,
Yeah, yeah, I
and
remember
I
we
noticed
love
back
that.
when they had the crash in 2007, 2008, I'm going, man, if I knew how to do that, I could make some money on the on the way down too. So now it's really fun. After I did options, I ventured over into futures and took a class with the Profit Room in futures and um, picked up some strategies there, and so now I'm in Forex. So I guess I'm a jack of all trades and a master of none. But
Yeah,
I find it really kind of pays to maybe find one or two things that you really do well. but
yeah,
Yes,
but I was so
exactly.
excited. You know, I was so excited to learn, and I go, wow, this is exciting. So now the main thing is to read the charts. Once you learn how to read those charts, you can kind of do everything. You can do Forex, you can do futures, you can do crypto. It's all in reading the charts.
Exactly. And that's exactly what we try to hammer in on is
Mhm.
just learning how to actually read the charts the correct way.
Yeah.
And you'll be surprised at, the various markets you're able to trade with just that knowledge alone.
Yes. Yes. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not a day trading student, but that
Mm-hmm.
15 and 5 minute candles are exciting. You can get in there, man, and you can kind of make a move and kind of see something coming, because you can't guess what it is, but you look at what happened in the past, and you
Mm-hmm.
have a good probability of what may happen in the future. It's exciting. So maybe one day
yeah.
I can day trade, but for this point, I'm okay where I am. So, but
But
thanks to you guys.
no, we appreciate that, and that's the whole thing about when you're getting educated and you knowing what to do.
Hmm.
Because sometimes I forget that you're in the room, then you'll pop up out of nowhere with, oh, I'm in silver.
Yeah.
I'm trading this, like, and nobody's trading silver, but
No.
you are, which is good because that's let's. I'm like, did George say he's in silver? He's like, yeah, he's in silver. Because the funny thing about it, even because you know what to look for,
Uh-huh.
you
Uh-huh.
know what to see. So even though we're trading a lot of oil, Jason's trading gold, we're trading NQ. It's
Hmm.
just like you just come in there all sneaky, like yeah, I was in silver, like like all right, like.
Yeah, I
But
do a
that's the good thing about it because I mentioned before, you're independent, even though everybody's there trading or doing
little.
options and options room. You're able to decipher and be able to see on your own,
Hmm. Hmm.
like make that own investment and trade.
I did a little copper the other day, and Jason
He
is
got excited.
yeah, Jason's a homeboy. He's right up the street in Durham. And I didn't know
Yeah.
that. We kind of met offline, but yeah, he said, "Oh, you're doing some copper." I said, "Yeah, man, I really love that copper." But again, it's all about being having the ability. And once you learn, then you get the confidence,
Mm,
and if I have a weakness now, it's learning that entry. That's very important, and
mm,
it's a slow process, but that's okay. I'm getting there, and I do a lot of paper trading. In fact, more paper trading than anything. I have a few things that with the group when Latoya gives us the alerts for the week, I go in there and do a little bit of live trading with those things, and that helps pay the bills because you guys haven't given me a free ride yet. So I'm waiting on my scholarship opportunity, but
we working on that.
yeah, it helps pay the bills and it helps keep me, my alerts and everything open. I, me being a businessman, I've always looked for a business angle with everything I do because you got to pay taxes. So I wanted
Mm,
to be able to one day to say that I was really a trader for the purposes of IRS because they have some pretty stringent rules for traders and
mm.
you got to do a lot of trading. But in the process, I got my EIN from a company and I got a name from a company, and so it's exciting. I'm looking
No.
forward to great things with what I'm doing.
And I know you mentioned something before when we talked, because I know when we started talking, and I like when you brought the fact that even at your age, being a successful business person, working, nothing's stopping you. You're still going and going at the age you are, and which is so much commendable. You mentioned something about you're in the giving back business now, giving back. Can you explain about that? Were you talking about you, your family, your grandkids, and stuff?
Sure. My wife and I formed a foundation, an education foundation, a couple of years ago, and education has been the key for my success. My age lets you know that I was kind of born in an era where education was important, and that was a way out. And so now there's an opportunity to give back, and charity begins at home. My main goal is once I become a little bit more competent, that I'm able to teach, and just to share with folks. That's the best way to learn is to teach somebody else. So I've got
Mm,
2 grandchildren. I've got 3 sons and a daughter, and they're just waiting for me to open up class,
mm,
for them. But I want to make sure that I teach them the right way, the way I was trained and taught. But that's all. That's what it's all about. Yeah, when you get to a certain point in your life, to be quite honest with you, I make enough money. But now it's about giving back to the community. My wife's involved with an organization called Top Ladies of Distinction, and in that organization, they bring in top teens. And those teens, that's when you got to reach them. Because if I could have got this as a teenager, had all
hmm.
those years, to operate my craft, wow, who knows
Yeah.
what I would have done with trading. But again, that's my goal is to one day get a class for the teens and teach them how to
Mm,
candlesticks and read charts. Just do a little trading, and let them know you don't need a lot of money. You can get into Forex with a couple, 300-400 bucks, and
hmm.
start making some money. But getting the education, getting the training, because
Yeah.
you were alluding earlier, you can give a man a fish and he eats one time, but if you teach him how to fish, he gets to eat every day. And so that's what to me trading is all about. And it's a side hustle. As we get older, you got to have a couple things coming in, streams of income, because it's hard out here for folks who are young. And boy, it's a gig economy. You better have something else other than just a regular job. So this gives an
Hmm.
opportunity to have that little extra coming in, and you can control, what you do, and the plan. That's what really kind of helped me when you guys taught me about getting a trading plan. And I sat
Yeah.
down and got my trading plan together and made my chart of how I wanted to do things, kind of forecasted where I wanted to be, and that's made all the difference because it keeps me in line, keeps me on track. And I journal. I'm kind of like Latoya. I use Excel to put all my trades in and to track what I'm doing, and that makes a difference because I know what I did yesterday or last week. If I make a mistake, what happened. If it didn't go my way. So, but that giving back is important. It's critical in my life and my wife's
Yeah.
life. So.
Yeah. Yeah, like to highlight on that, like we have so much stuff in the background. We'll discuss more offline. We
Definitely.
have something in the works already
Mhm.
that's going to be amazing. Believe me, it's going to be amazing, and
Okay.
for the young people as well. So,
Right.
it's like we'll talk offline back off of that. But
Okay.
one thing just to mention, because a lot of people ask. I mean, even though you're an educated man and you, like you said, you always been educated, reading, is the rumors that people have about trading or investing, is it difficult, like during the process of learning, like a lot of math or a lot of things that would push people away? Because there is a lot of rumors that you have to be this Wall Street mogul, you have to have all these degrees, you have to be great at math. I mean, for you to be able to see profits coming in and you see what we do every day in the room, even though you said it was a challenge, just like anything out, learning a new language, can you just express to people how you feel the process is of learning to just to eliminate certain rumors?
There's a lot of stereotypes. I've heard everything from you're gambling to it's too tough, or I can't do math. And to be honest with you, that's what they are. They're myths. If you put the time in and the dedication that you have to put in, that's another story. But if you really want to do it, you can do it. It's not hard. Um, I found my biggest challenge was maybe with pips, because I always thinking they were dollars, and if I go, hey, no, that's not the way it works. But once you can get your mind to think that way, you've got to train your mind to look at things the way they are and don't bring anything else in. Uh, just use what you have, use the skills that you're taught. I didn't find it that difficult, in respect to the mathematics or even the reading. And I did do some outside reading. I took your advice. There's a book that you had on one of your podcasts. I forget that it was a young man who wrote a book based on briefings that he had done from other traders, and that was a very good source for me. But it kind of I saw where you got some of your ideas, Ernest, because I mean it was right there. So again, you got to
Mhm.
put a little bit of extra time in if you want to get it. Just how bad a person wants.
Yeah,
That's it. But no, I don't personally at my age. It came pretty easy.
yeah. So now, like you mentioned before, I know, and that's one of the of the things which is great. That's why we like doing these student success stories, because we see a lot of women as well.
Mm.
What do you think, as a older gentleman, a more mature man, why you don't see as many men in the trading atmosphere? Because we've been doing a lot of I just wanted your opinion or thought process, even if you have one, because we've been doing a lot of student success on women. We do have male students as well, but just as a man of color, just in general, like myself, why you may feel that you don't see as many of us maybe trading or investing? Your thought process?
I don't know. I think it's exposure. You know, having
Mm,
put in front of you, seeing someone else who look like you do it. That makes all the difference in the world. Um,
yeah,
you're not if you're not exposed to something, you're not going to get it. Um, it's more people of color trading, having classes on YouTube now that I've ever seen before. I've never seen that much.
mm,
In my experience, folks that I had trained, I won't even use the word train, that I had touched base with to try to learn didn't look like me. And it was all about money and there was other things involved. I could kind of pick up on that. So my interest waned. But I think that, matter of fact, there's a young lady that I know in my wife's organization. She's taking a Forex class with another organization, of course. And I ask her questions from time to time, and well, she's struggling. You know, I says, well, hey, you need to come over to the profit room. You know, so
yeah,
we may get another student because she's a little frustrated. But I find that but folks of color that I haven't met and talked about it, they're a little bit afraid, or they'll say, I don't have that kind of money. You know, I don't have that kind of money
mm,
to waste. And I'm letting them know you're not wasting money. You know, if you're putting your money in the bank, you're not getting anything from it. If you're just letting somebody else handle it for you in a 401k,
Mm,
you can do much better, and you can be in
mm.
control. So that's the main thing. You can control your own destiny.
control,
Yes,
control, yeah,
yes.
I'll tell you, speaking as a black man in America, it's wonderful to have some control over something in your life. So being able to control my ability to make money, to teach others how to make money, that's very critical for me. And so
yeah.
I do believe that if folks, you know, give it a chance, give it an opportunity, give it a chance, they'll be happy, they'll be satisfied.
And I think that that's the main thing. It's like we like to we like to control a lot of stuff, but sometimes we realize we're not in control of our money
Mm-hmm.
when it hits the fan. And that's what I was saying before. Even if you're not, even if you don't want to manage your own money, you still need to know what's going on. Because we'll have students that have, there's nothing wrong with having a financial advisor. Everybody has one, right? That's a professional, but you want to be able to look at those documents and that paperwork and understand what they're actually doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so you know you don't get ripped off. Like that's like when you purchase a house, some people don't know how to read that HUD 1, and they
Mm-hmm.
add in almost like, I remember one time I was buying, it was almost like $4,000 extra in fees
Yes.
for like, wiring, uh, documents. Come on now,
Title
that's
searches.
how they,
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff
Mm-hmm.
that you can wipe out. So that's the thing. A lot of us want to be in control, but they don't know how to control. We don't know how to control our own money, and that's why, like I was saying before, I do commend you for, it's like when we talk, we always talk about like fitness and other stuff when you're talking. Then it's like some stuff, because George is a reader. You say you saw an article with me in the final call, and I
Yeah.
forgot I even did
Yeah.
the interview. He was like, I saw your interview in the final
Yeah.
call,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
was like, when did I do that?
Yeah.
But I remember the guy at the event. We was talking, but I didn't even know when he was going to publish it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing. You're a reader, and
Mm-hmm.
I've always been a reader
Mm-hmm.
myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I was saying. It's the same thing with the charts.
Yeah.
Like age shouldn't stop you just to reread. Like we got you to come on Facebook. You wasn't on Facebook, right? Before
No,
the profit room.
no, I was on Facebook, and when this privacy thing kicked in, I stopped. You know,
Yeah, you
and
stop.
as
But
the group, I said, "Oh no, they're going to drive me back into Facebook." You know, because
but
Facebook, you know, you can
the
start
thing
using.
is,
Uh-huh. They
yeah, you was
benefit.
able to learn and adapt. Because a
Yes.
lot of people, that's one thing I realized when something is scary. That's what I was asking you about when we talk about men in general.
Mm-hmm.
We want to do sometimes which is comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
but like in the beginning, like when you started, it is scary
Mm-hmm.
when you got to look at a screen, you got to look at candles,
Mm-hmm.
then you got to look at patterns. That's why the way the program is worked, we don't give you everything at once,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
where some people, they just give you a whole bunch of videos and PDFs and tell you to go. Your brain can't handle that. If
No.
you got everything at once, you would have been like, I'm not doing this. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
It's got to be
So
sequential order, at least for me. My way of learning is I'm a visual learner, so I've got to kind of get it in a sequence. And once I line it up, I'm okay. Some other folks can get those bits and pieces, and I find that
yeah,
maybe younger mind can, but that didn't work for me. And again, you guys gave it to me. I picked up what I got. Then we said, okay, we're going to the next step. And I said, okay, I got that. And if I missed something, I was able to go back on my own, with rehearsal and practice it. And that's the whole key. You got to go back and rehearse, and what's your favorite line? Or rinse and repeat,
yeah,
rinse
rinse
and
and repeat.
repeat, so you got to keep going back, And if you make a mistake, don't get frustrated, because you can do paper money. It's not even real money, treat it like real money. Don't get in the habit of
Right.
going, I can just go willy-nilly, because you'll be in your real money. You do that, you crash out your account. But if you use those steps in progress and risk management, learn how to control your risk. And that was another thing, because folks would say, well, hey, it's kind of risky and you're gambling. I go, no, it's like walking down the street. You can get hit by a car and not even have anything to do with it.
Exactly.
You measure your
Exactly.
moves, you keep your head on the swivel, you know where you're going, you don't step off the curb without looking. That's training. It's the same thing with this. And the more you get educated, then the less risk you're taking. Sure, there may
Yes.
be days with all of that, it goes the other way, but it doesn't happen that often. And if I can do a 75% win, hey, that's a good day.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
That's a
That-
wonderful day. Where else you gonna have odds like that? So, but if you don't have training, you're gonna make mistakes. And the profit room offers you training, and that's been my goal. I have one other goal, and that's to get a profit room T-shirt one day. I don't know what I got to do to get.
we got you. We everybody's been yelling at me. We got you.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get you a shirt.
because
I promise. I,
I wear mine to the gym, and everybody want to know where I'm going. See, I can pass some business on to you.
we'll definitely get you a shirt this week. Latoya, remind me. I'll go pick up some shirts. But that's cool. I'm glad you said that. And one thing is the patience. And we always thrive. That's why we do this, because a lot of people out here, like, I remember 2018, now it's 2019, it's 2020, right? Quick.
Mhm,
Real quick.
There's no, yeah, there's no rush. You know what I mean?
mhm,
There's no rush.
mhm,
Once you learn it, you got it. I think we've been just spoiled in this era the past couple of years of these crazy returns.
mhm.
Everybody's expecting to learn something and have money in like 2 or 3 weeks, you
Yes,
know?
yes.
And it doesn't happen like that. It doesn't happen like that. You have to have that structure, in order to be able to receive those consistency. Like all the stuff you saying, it makes us feel good, because it's like, all right, you was following along. You understood what we saying. You didn't get caught up with the noise or anything of that nature. So that was cool, man. That was really cool.
Let me.
Because even go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying that, we get people of all various backgrounds, all social economic backgrounds, younger, older, it doesn't matter.
Mhm,
But we find that we get the much success when they realize, like, hey, I'm just coming here. I want to financially change my life. Like you said, you were in the giving back phase,
mhm,
and we
mhm,
told you what you exactly have to do. It's
mhm,
going to be a process. You have to train your eyes. You got to train your mind. And trading tells you more about yourself than anything.
mhm,
You know,
mhm.
Latoya is way more aggressive trading than me. I'm like the punk. Like, I'm more
Oh
conservative.
gosh.
Like, you might think it's vice versa. I'm like, I don't think we should take that trade. She's like, come on, let's get in. So it tells you a lot about yourself. So you really have to know the type of trader you are. Like, you realize that some people pick up stuff much faster. Some people pick up stuff much slower. But as long as you're consistent with understanding yourself and the market, you can trade, because when you said, all right, I'm doing stocks, then you went to options, then you went to futures, I was like, oh man, what's George doing? But then now I see, because you know what you're seeing,
Hmm.
you know what you're doing, like, because you pick it up, because you're a student of the market. Every day, Latoya and I, no matter what, we always have a thought process of the market,
Hmm.
right? Even on the Sunday study sessions and things like that, it keeps your mind fresh to
Hmm.
seeing what's going on. So
It
I
forces
really
you
do.
also, in addition to your technicals, which are very critical. But if you don't pay attention to every day, that everyday living, the everyday news, that's really fundamentals. You know, you got to
Yes.
do those things because you can't just close them out because they are critical. But now you
Yeah,
know what to do with them when you see them and you look at the charts, you can kind of see how the movement's going. You go, okay, that's what that means. So they both work hand in hand. You know, one is really, they kind of depend on each other. I'll put it that way. I want to share a story with you about Beyond Meat. You
okay.
know, I was waiting for Beyond Meat to go IPO. I mean, I was waiting, man. I had some cash laying around back. I was waiting. Well, I was waiting. And about a week before the IPO came out, Latoya puts out this podcast saying, you know, don't mess with IPOs. They need 2 quarters of review before you jump on. I go, what? What? So Beyond Meat comes out. I didn't jump on it. I let it go, you know, because I would have, it would have been an old days involvement by pray and hold, right? Or by hold and pray, because that's what it was. Because I really didn't know what I was doing, but I knew Beyond Meat was going to go. I just had that
Hmm.
feeling, you know what I mean? And Beyond Meat shopped at 231. I go, dang, Victoria, come on, why'd you say that? But then it went the other way, you know. So by that time, I had learned a little bit. I go, okay, I can pick up some of it going back down, you know. So now it's going back and forth. I can make a few dollars, as you said, some lunch money now, knowing how to read the chart and take a little bit of a short sometime, but do a put, you know. So but I didn't know that before. I just bought and waited for 231. Although I always keep numbers now. When I go into something, I know when I was going to exit. It probably would have been before 231, but I still would have been okay. But I listened to you,
Exactly.
Victoria. I didn't jump on the IPO.
Was
It's
this was this before or after you took the class?
It was
Because I think I gave a disclaimer with that. I
yeah,
said
you did.
if you're not a technical, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, you
then
did.
don't buy right away. But if you're
That's
into
fine.
technicals, the candle's gonna guide you along the
Okay.
process.
That's right. And see, I was just learning. I was just kind of getting into
Ah,
the process with swing trading, and I said,
mhm.
what she's saying makes sense. And I don't really know that because I haven't seen 2 quarters, so let me just wait. And I did. I did. And I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm not angry. But that story makes me laugh whenever I tell it to folks, and they talk about, you know, Impossible Burgers going, Impossible Food Meat's going to go IPO sometime, you know, soon. I'm saying, yeah,
Mhm.
it's probably going to do the same thing, but I'm not going to jump on it like that. I'm going to wait for 2 quarters.
Mhm.
wait for some earnings to come back. But
Another question.
those are flash in the pans. Okay, those are flash in the pans. They don't happen often, you know. Just like Facebook,
Yeah.
I had no idea that Facebook was going to do what it did. I jumped on. That was my first and only IPO was Facebook. And to be honest with you, I was blind, but I had
yeah,
faith. And I went in, and what did it do? It dropped.
yeah.
You know, but I was smart enough to pick up some of those cheap shares because you know you buy low and sell high.
Yeah,
So
you
I
hold on and then ride it
I
out or
was
whatever. I mean, that company is different with
yeah,
certain stocks. That it
mhm,
had a promising future, and
sure
you can
did.
see where it is now, right? Like they took over
Mhm.
basically. So certain companies, like yeah, you can do that with, but certain IPOs,
Mhm,
like DDD, for
mhm,
example,
mhm.
like you can't do that with. Like if it fell apart completely, right?
That's right. You
Got
can't.
Uber, you got Lyft. It's like all of those. So it's like, you know what? Let me wait, and eventually you ride out the technicals. Like
Yes.
we did Uber and Lyft the
Yes.
past 2-3 weeks, right?
That's right.
Oh yeah.
Large
So we made
large
our money. We
percentage,
made
yeah,
our
large
money.
percentage gains
That's right.
with the
We didn't.
options too,
We
George.
didn't miss it. We
With
didn't
the
miss it. We didn't
no,
miss it.
no. That's the upside too because
Hmm.
one thing you know that greed and fear that those two power they're very powerful. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm like most people. I got a little greed going, you know. I'm going, wow, man. If I'd have held a little bit longer, it went to another number. No, you set your stops, you set your numbers, and you get out. You know, you make your money and you close up the shop for the day. And really, it gives you more life because now I can spend time with my wife because she's retired too. We can do what we like to do. and I'm not worried about it. I don't have to be in front of the screen. Next week, I'm taking a cruise. I'm going on a 7-day cruise. So while I'm
Yes.
done, I'm gonna have some stops in place. You know,
Yeah. Can I go?
yeah,
Dang.
yeah.
Pick me up.
It's a jazz cruise. You probably wouldn't be hip to jazz hip hopper, but
Oh man. See? Oh man.
it's old school
That's cool.
jazz.
That's great. So one question, let me ask. I know you retired,
Mhm.
but how much time did you spend studying? And if you wasn't retired, what do you think the requirement? Because a lot of people think you need, like, I'm so busy, I work a lot of jobs and things like that. How much time did you normally spend studying? And what do you think from your experience would probably be required? That's like one of my last questions, because a lot of people just think like, I don't have the time, I don't have the
Sure,
time.
sure. Well, I'm an early riser. You know, being a military veteran, I'm an early riser. So 5 a.m. I'm up and I'm in the gym. After the gym, I come back and I'll sit at the computer from 6 to about 8. You know, and I spend a couple hours doing my research in the morning, and then I'll take a break and I'll come back around 1. So right now I'm putting about 3 good solid hours of study time in and chart time in and chart review time in,
Mm,
and I'm fitting that into my schedule. Okay. Now with futures and forex, you can do some stuff if you're a night person. You know, you can do some stuff at night. So there's time. You just gotta find it. You just gotta chisel it out of your day and say I'm going to do it. And that's the whole key. If you don't say you're going to do it and do it, mm, I
Mm.
got a little mantra that I use. You know, it's called a teaspoon of courage, 2 tablespoons of persistence, and a cup of action. Because you can have all the other stuff. If you don't put a plan together and make it happen, it will never happen. So that's just me. That works for me. That's 71 years of wisdom. Okay. But you got to
yeah.
find the time and make it happen. I know folks got children, they got kids, but if we look at our day, we'll find there's a lot of fluff time in there. Things that we could probably chisel back and say, okay, I want to do this because it's important to me. And if it's important to you, you'll find time to do it. That's just my take.
Yeah, that's what I always tell people. You got to find, like Latoya mentions in a presentation, that why. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes that why may not be enough, but you got to find something external to push you. And we
Mm-hmm.
find, like, with our average student in the beginning, they you can find an hour in a day. Then
Mm-hmm.
if you got to back down to maybe 45 minutes or 30 minutes, but you should be able to be a student.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes in our jobs, they would tell you to get like continuous education
Mm-hmm.
or classes, your CE credits. You're able to study for that.
Mm-hmm.
So you might as well be able to try to study for the if you want it, but
Mm-hmm.
you gotta want it.
Yes.
You gotta want it and be dedicated to it. Like you said, it's a new language, it's a diet, and it's not going to be forever. That's
That's
the
it.
thing. Because I'm hearing you talk about the terminologies, and maybe people watching this video don't even know what you mean by puts and the
Mm-hmm.
flags, like you mentioned the chart, but you weren't speaking that language a
No,
couple of months ago.
not either.
But now it's so fluent.
That's
It's
right.
so fluent to you because you were studying. So that,
It's just like you going to the gym when you first, if you can recall back those first days, you didn't have those delts and those tries and those
yeah,
filling up
I
the
fell
t-shirt.
off. I
You
got
didn't have all
soft.
that, but it took a lot of time, a lot of sweat,
Yeah,
a lot of dedication, and now you have a result. It's the same with this. If you put the
Hmm.
time
yeah,
in and stretch that muscle, it's called the brain.
Yes.
Guess what? You'll get it. You'll get it. And I'm gonna tell you, life's gonna teach you a lesson whether you want to learn a lot or not. Okay, so why not
yeah.
have control over what you learn? You know, there's a book out by Mel Robbins. It's called The 5 Second Rule, and that 5 second rule is a good book because a
Yes.
lot of times we won't get started. It's just something as
Hmm.
simple as counting back 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, getting up out of the bed, or
Yeah,
opening up that book, or
I
cutting on the screen, reading the chart. That's what I use, man. Because I want maybe want to watch a rerun of Power, you know, but I'm
do.
3, 2, 1, man, and cut the computer on and do some chart reading. Okay, so
Yeah,
if you want to get it, you can get it.
I always like
George,
to.
I have one question for you. With your wisdom and what you know about the market so far and all the things you learned within the financial markets, would you say it's important to learn, like in general, in life in general, no matter like who?
Yes, you're speaking of learning how to trade.
Like
No, just
trading as well investing. So it could go both hand in hand, but
Yeah.
because a lot of people don't necessarily invest, or
Hmm.
a lot of people may not even know what trading is. but
Hmm.
would it be something of something that is necessary to learn, no matter who you are?
Yes, I see a benefit from anyone, a young 12-year-old person who just got their first little job. They got some extra money. If nothing, taking that money, investing it someplace. That's the first start. And from that point, learning how to do some other uh, movement with it where you're in control of it. That's the whole key. Getting in control of what you're doing. Because even if you have an IRA or SEP or 401k, if you just hand it over to somebody, they're going to manage it for you, and you won't have a clue. So learn what's going on with your money. It's like your income tax. You can give your money to give your tax returns over there to another company, and they can do it, and you won't have a clue. All you know is you got a refund back or you didn't. Well, why not know what's going on? So you can structure your finances for the year, make decisions so you don't pay extra taxes. It's the same if you're making a cake, making a cake, you got to know the ingredients to go in it. So, like as I was saying, life will teach you a lesson. It's important that you learn some things, and I think trading and investing and having financial empowerment is critical, especially in the society that we're in today. When our president gave us that tax jobs act, people got that little money back every week, and they were just happy because the paycheck went up. And then in the year, that tax bill, they didn't get that refund back, and they were complaining. Well, you got it every week. You get your money every week. So don't complain now. But if you don't understand that and take the time to kind of dissect it, and when that money comes out, don't use it, don't spend it. Invest it. If at least invest it in something, rather than just spend it on something that you 6 months from now you may not be able to find. So financial empowerment, financial education, financial astuteness is critical for us. And I'm saying us, I'm talking, speaking of Black Americans. It's very critical because we're never going to get where we need to go if we're not financially astute, man. And I can't put it any
Yeah.
other way.
No, I appreciate that because we all are students. We learn something new every single day,
Yeah.
especially in the market. And I think like I'm glad Latoya asked that question is very critical because even if you're not a trader, even if you're not an investor,
Mm-hmm.
like I post a lot of articles and things, you have to know what's going on with world events. Like you can't be blind, like when I was fixing up a property, I'm going in, I knew why the windows was more. I knew why
Mm-hmm.
the vinyl siding was more. I knew why the granite because of the tariffs. You don't have to explain that to me,
Yeah. Yeah.
because I see what's going on.
Uh-huh.
And all you need is the CNBC app.
Uh-huh.
We could
Uh-huh.
spend so much time, like you said, on power and other stuff like that, but we don't know what's going on. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and it's simple. Like everything's at our fingertips, and that's why it's like even though you're not actively investing or trading, you should know why the
Mm-hmm.
price of the diapers are going up or
Mm-hmm.
why beef is going up because it's just a part of our life every single day, and that's what we teach our students. It's not about just making money,
Mm-hmm.
which is great, but it's actually knowing what's going on, what we can anticipate that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like if we have some news or we see something going on, it was like, oh, something don't look right, or a certain amount of numbers drop. You're like, all right, let me just adjust this or adjust that for just to be cautious.
Mm-hmm.
And all that stuff is free because they give it to us, so we might
Mm-hmm.
as well take it in.
I'm gonna be quite honest with you. What happens when our president does a tweet? That's really a blessing for a trader because
Yeah.
because because he'll say something, you go, and just watch the market, just watch the candles, and watch what they do after that report comes out. I said, wow, man, that makes a big difference. That's almost insider trading. But that's all I'm gonna say about that.
But
Whoa.
because you know what's happening.
I know
Exactly.
what's happening now, man. And then you introduced me to FinViz and bar chart, and oh man, yeah, oh boy, I tell you, I just can't. I get different news now. My news now is has a direction. My news has a point. It's just no. I'm not being bombarded with all this other what we call fake news because some of it is fake. But
Hmm.
you go to the market news and you're reading what's happening and you're hearing what's happening in other countries because what happens over in Chile affects us in America. We might not think about that, but I think about it now.
Now, exactly.
I didn't think about that too much before, but now I'm kind of curious because there may be an angle, it may be an opportunity,
Yeah.
you know. So yeah, very critical.
It was like before, like when I was reading, since we trade futures, about how like 60% of our our soybean goes to China, which is huge. That's
Yes.
why all them farmers are hurting,
Yes.
right? And they make China has the most pigs that they
Mm-hmm.
provide and stuff, and all that stuff. Once you just read it, you see why the tariffs is such a big deal and
Mm-hmm.
how it's affecting the market.
Uh-huh.
No matter what, like you said, what happens in that country, it circles back around to us some type of way.
Yes.
And even if you are not profiting from it, which is not at least you understand. And that's one of the things where, like with trading, like we always tell you, if we can't explain to you why we get in the trade, don't take the trade, because
Right.
you got to be able to explain it. And
Mm-hmm.
that's how our brain works now. Like you said, I need to know
Mm-hmm.
what's going on
Mm-hmm.
so I can know how to apply it to myself and protect myself financially,
Mm-hmm.
or if I can benefit from it financially.
Mm-hmm.
That was so
Exactly.
great.
Yeah, one of my staples is brown rice. And so I said, well, what's this rice thing? What's this rice future? So I got into looking at rough rice, man. I go, wow, you know. And I found out that we have rice in Africa. We got rice in India. You know, so I didn't know that before. All I know is I had rice on the shelf. And now, as I buy it and I cook it and I eat it, it means something different to me now. It's rough rice. I go, all right, can I make a few bucks with that?
Exactly,
But never thought about it
exactly.
like that before, man. It's a different world. It's a different world.
It's a whole
Trading is
different
a
world.
different world. Yes, but it can be
Great,
rewarding. It sure can.
definitely. So we appreciate it, George. We don't want to hold you up too late. I mean, you give us some gems, and like it's great that we're able to have someone like you a part of the Profit Room team. I
Hmm.
mean, it's like, you know, we try to teach and educate people as much as possible, but then finding somebody like you that's mature, has so much life experience, it's like it's intimidating at the same time, but also rewarding because it allows me, even myself, and I know Latoya, to be humble because everybody's always learning something.
Hmm.
Somebody's always learning something. Like your vast knowledge is so much more valuable than what I even have or Latoya even have just from life experience, is wisdom.
Hmm.
So the fact that I'm able to give you and Latoya able to give you some type of education, the fact that it's adding to your wisdom and vice versa, it's just like it's a privilege and that as well. And like I said before, sometimes we're in like the trading room and we're joking around. I know you see the posts and stuff like that. I'm like, I don't even realize that George is in there. It's like, oh, they respect my elders, like, but that's one of the
I
things, like,
love it.
we
I
be in
love it.
there acting a fool
I
sometime,
love it. I
so,
love it. I love it,
but
man.
it's like, it's cool.
Rough rice.
It's very inspiring, that we're able to have that opportunity. Is really, really inspiring to have the opportunity. And the fact that the first thing you mentioned when we had like our first coaching call, like I just gotta keep stressing it. Like you said, I'm in the giving back business. Like right now, I'm learning this and I'm trying to do this for my grandkids and stuff like that. And I'm like, wow,
Mhm.
it's not like you never met anybody that does that, but that's when you hear somebody say it, that they're investing in themselves personally
Mhm.
to give to somebody else. That's fresh.
Uh-huh.
That's fresh. Like, that really hit me. I was like, man, it's like there's some other good people in the world,
Hello.
So,
Hello.
but that's it. That's the thing, and and it's cool because that's the type of people we love to attract. We
Mhm.
believe in that type of attraction. It's like you're making money, you're doing well, but you're doing it for the right reasons.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And which is great.
Let me
So
give a
I
quick
appreciate.
shout out to Kevin. Kevin has been remarkable. Your staff, your admin staff is remarkable. Whenever
Yeah.
I had questions, I do an email uh, before the end of the day. Kevin always would respond. He was so respectful and mannerable. And you don't get that a lot now when you're dealing with people because people are in a hurry and they're chatting and everything's 280 characters now. Nobody has time to write a complete sentence. you know. But let me tell you, Kevin was always on point. And shout out to Jason. He gave some wonderful instruction doing Forex, man. And I really appreciate the staff. I really do.
No.
Thank you.
Mhm, mhm.
Thank you. Thank you.
And
Thank
of
you.
course, hats off to the Queen. and the king.
Now we listen. We just appreciate having the opportunity to have you a part of the room and stuff like that. It's just great. It's great. You know what I mean? Because that's all we want. Like when that's the whole thing. When Latoya and I started this, we were just trading. That's it. We never thought we'd be educating. But when we sat down and said, listen, we got to teach people how we would want to be taught, you know, to simplify it. And we didn't have a specific age bracket or a specific culture or anything. We just wanted to teach people, and that was it. And you happen to fall in and come in like many other students that come. It's just like, all right, great.
And you
And
have people everywhere, man. You have people from Trader Shells over in Saudi or wherever in that part of the world, and
yeah,
Ukraine, all over. I go, wow, this is great. So this profit room is catching on.
yeah. So well, that's what we hope. That's what we hope to do. That's what we hope to do. So it's working out, and that's the beauty behind it. We want people to be able to take the information and be able to do it on their own. That's the whole thing. Even though you're a part of the community, and that's what helps people like yourself, you're going to build confidence because you hear people like Jason or myself or other people in the room making profits. And you're like, I'm going to try that.
Yes.
You know, I'm going to get in this because now you're amongst a whole bunch of people that's just building you up and building you up because you know you're not by yourself.
Yeah, and I
You know
feel
you're
like I
not
know
by
these
yourself.
people because I mean, thank God for teaching me, introduced me to Slack. And that's another thing, you know, being an older person, I kind of not really technologically savvy on a lot of things, but you guys kind of forced me to get over there because if I don't get over there, I won't get it. So I gotta, you know, I gotta do a few things and lose a few things. But hey, as long as I get there, that's the main thing, you know.
Yeah.
That's good.
Nah, because you want it. You definitely want it.
Absolutely.
So I don't know, Latoya, did you want to say any last words? Then we'll pass it over to George.
The only thing I really want to say is, George, I definitely appreciate you. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your wisdom, and more importantly, your honesty.
Thank you. Thank you.
And for me personally, this is gonna go down in like one of my favorite student interviews because this
Oh,
this
wow.
means a whole lot. You just don't understand.
Well, hopefully one day you guys will have a reunion. I'll get to come because I like to travel. So I'll come. I'll come to Boston and New Jersey. That's okay.
Oh, we're working on that for
Yeah,
sure.
we're working on that.
That'll be great, man. That'll be
And
great.
Jason's up the street from you, like you said too. It's
Yeah,
just
Jason's
cool.
up in Durham. Yeah, yeah. We're gonna got to meet, have coffee. Yeah, one day.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Uh-huh.
Any other words that you wanted to say, George, before we wrap up?
No, I'm just looking forward to the next chat meeting we have. The next alert we get, so I can make some cheddar.
All right, all right, all right.
But thank you, thank you.
No, all right. Thank you so much for even being here. So we definitely appreciate you, George.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys too.